Om Sai Ram. Let's understand chapter number 43, Leaving of the Body by Sainath. Before that, let us do the Namasmaran, followed by chapter number 43, and then we will conclude by doing the Aarti. श्री सच्चिदानंद सतगुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय। ओम श्री साईनाथाय नमः। 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 Om Sai Ram, chapter number 43, Leaving of the Body by Sainath. I bow down to Shri Ganesh, I bow down to Shri Saraswati, I bow down to the Guru, I bow down to the family deity, I bow down to Shri Sita Ramachandra, I bow down to Shri Sadguru Sainath. In the last chapter, the narration of leaving the body by the saint Sai Samartha was given. Now, what remains unfinished will be completed in this. My unique love for Sai had been kindled by that Samartha. Here Mark had surrendered and outlines the story. It is he who gives liking for devotion. It is he who increases the greatness of the stories. It is because of him that worship through bhajans had attained glory and brings about aversion to the mundane world. Therefore, with my whole heart and soul, I do obeisances to him countless times. I cannot even fully think of his greatness in meditation, but it is possible only through complete surrender. In order to wash out of the accumulated defilement of sins, to have self purification, other means are futile. There is not another simple way by which we can have self purification than to remember the glory achieved by the devotee of God and to do the bhajans and kirtans of that glory. So be it. Let us recollect the story already narrated in the last chapter and deliberate over it. Then we may proceed further with the narration of Sai's merger in self bliss. Earlier, it has been narrated in detail why the leaving of the body took place on Vijayadashmi and how further it was predicted using Tatya's name as a pretext. Later, just before leaving the body, adhering to religious traditions, how he gave money to Lakshmi, all that has been described fully. Now, in this chapter, I shall narrate how Sai listened to the Ramayana for his own benefit, as read by Brahman at a time of leaving the body approached. Also, how the place for the Samadhi was chosen and how unexpectedly a brick had fallen down. Listen to it attentively. Also, how one raised his prana high up and went into Samadhi for 3 days. How could it be Samadhi? People were absolutely certain that it was leaving of the body. Preparation for the rites was made, but unexpectedly Baba attained consciousness and the people were taken aback. Look at how it all happened. So be it. Listeners will be irked by hearing the story of leaving the body. No one likes to hear such a story. But this story of leaving the body of the saintly sage will purify the listeners and the narrator. For fear of it being lengthy, listen to it in parts till you are satisfied. By leaving the body, he became inaccessible, but for him, he was in a blissful state. Baba attained eternal state, never to be born again. He was visible when he was in body. After leaving the body, he was not perceivable. His avatar at one place and for one mission ended, but he was at all places and all present, always omnipotent. He was freed from being bound to one place and was all pervasive. He became absolutely eternal and merged with the Supreme Self. Sai was the reason for everyone's life itself. Without Sai, the villagers were devastated. When his body became lifeless, there arose a wail of sorrow agony. The old and young, disturbed by grief, seem to be lifeless themselves. Fever and other ailments which affect common man do not unnecessarily trouble saints and aesthetics, but by kindling their own luster, saints extinguish their own bodies. Baba did the same with his own hands. What should never have happened had happened. Maharaj became one with the Supreme Spirit. The people were dispirited, sobbed, and whimpered. It would have been better if I had not left. I missed meeting him in the last moment. If I had been there, I might prove to be useful in some way. My wits were not about me at the right time. In this manner, with similar thoughts, all the sundry felt dejected. How could no what was in Baba's mind? There was no death rattle, nor troublesome breathing, no cough, nor shivering, nor any struggle. He passed away easily and peacefully. Now, how would there be Sai's darshan or pressing Sai's feet or drinking of the tirtha? Knowing that time had for end had come, then why would the loving devotees sent way though they had been so near, they were made to undergo this anguish, seeing the whole assembly of near and dear ones nearby at the time of passing away. Could Baba's love had sprung for them then? Bonds of attachment come in the way of attaining salvation. If they are not broken at the right time, how can the mind be free of desires? If death comes when it had not happened, and life lives with these desires and attachments, then immediately another cycle of existence starts with a flood of attachments. To avoid this, saints and sages are always alert. Baba's determination also was only to practice the custom prevalent amongst the people. In the last moment, one should be alert about this. There should be peace and solitude, and the chosen deity's image should be fixed in the mind without any distraction. One is reborn according to one's last thoughts. It is well known axiom. Themselves practice this to maintain the prevalent custom. When there are 14 days left for Baba's passing away, Baba appointed Vaz to read Rama Vijay. Vaz sat in the masjid and began to read the holy book. Baba began to listen to it. Then Baba, thus 8 days passed. Then Baba ordered the book to be read again without a break. So Vaz read it in this manner for 3 days and nights. He sat for full 11 days. Later he was tired and felt weak. He was exhausted with reading. In this way, 3 more days passed. So, what did Baba do later? He stopped the reading. He sent Vaz away from there and kept quiet himself. Listeners would ask the reason for sending away Vaz. So, here what I am going to explain to the best of my ability. Hear it with concentration. It is the practice of saints, sages, and wise people to listen to religious books when the time for passing away is near. Acharya Shukla recounted the Mahabhagavad in 7 days to King Parikshit, who heard it and attained death happily. While listening to the Leelas of the Lord and keeping an image of the Lord before one's eyes, if one passes away, then one attains the ultimate goal. This is generally the trend amongst the common people. The saints practice it themselves without fail. They do not break the tradition because they manifest to protect it. They they who disregard their bodies made of 5 elements, they have no pain or sorrow at the time of death. This is natural for them. So be it. Here the listeners may doubt if a person who is engrossed in supreme bliss, could there be troubled by illusion and greed? How can one even think about it? One who abided in self and always uttered Allah Malik, how could he be entangled by the nearness of his devotees? He had transcended the world. His spirituality remained. Duality did not exist for him. He became one with the Supreme Spirit. What I am telling you is nothing but the truth, word for word. There is no trace of untruth in it. But taking avatar for the good of the people, saints gratified knowing that they have fulfilled their mission. The saints are free from the 6 vices and passions. They are always present, invisible to the eye. They had taken form only for salvation of the devotees. How could there have been death? The conjunction of the body with the senses is being born. Their separation is death. This joining and separation is called birth and death. Birth is doggedly pursued by death. They are inseparable. Death is the natural state of life, and living's life distortion. Those who remained after overcoming death and even controlled death, how could they be concerned about the lifespan when they have manifested by their own wish? He who takes different avatars with the only desire of welfare of devotees, how can he be touched by birth and death? Both they are both illusions. Know that he who had reduced the body to ashes even before acquiring it, how could he have any fear of death? Death is reduced to ashes before him. Death itself is body's natural state. Death itself is the happy state of the body. Life is the body's distortion. Ask the wise ones. Sai Samartha, the cloud of bliss, who did not know the birth of his body. How could his body experience death? He does not know about the body's existence. How could there be birth or death of Sai, who is Parabrahma himself, knowing that Brahma is truth? And the world is a mirage. How could he have body consciousness, taking on life or abandoning it, or roaming in the space formlessly? Is done at the will by the power of yoga and for the benefit of devotees. The sun had been eclipsed and had disappeared completely, say the people, but it was merely the fault of sense perception. The death of senses likewise. The body is merely a burden. How can they have pain and suffering? If they have any, it is because of the bonds of fate. But they are not concerned. He who manifested because of past meritorious deeds of the devotees was filled with devotion invisibly. He appeared for the welfare of his devotees. It was then that he was perceived in Shirdi. It was said that now the work of the welfare of the devotees was completed, and therefore he abandoned the body. Who will place faith in these words? What is life and death of for a yogi? Sai Samartha had abandoned his body as per his own will and burnt the body in the Yoga Agni, which is fire. He became one with the unseen but remained eternal in the hearts of the devotees. How can he die? The remembrance of whose name breaks the cycle of life and death for others. He had attained his earlier invisible self. Going beyond the gross state, Baba became one with the unseen, where he enjoyed being with God, but always he keeps the devotees alert. He who throbs with Supreme Spirit and is permanently engraved in the hearts of devotees, then how could his body be said to have ceased? Such words are unacceptable. Therefore, this Sai, who is without a beginning or an end, will ever be there until the deluge of the world. Has Dhyanoba Maharaj gone away? He gave darshan to Eknath Maharaj after 300 years and gratified the world. Just as Eknath became the light of Paitini, so did Tukaram Maharaj in Dehu and Narasimha Saraswati in Aladi, Samat Ramdas in Parle, Akal Kotar in Akalkot, Prabhu Manik in Ahmedabad, and similarly Sai in Shirdi. One has the experiences consummate with one's faith. Even today, when the power of this axiom exists for him, how can there be death of for such a one? He who had espoused the causes of the devotees had abandoned his body in Shirdi and is all pervasive with the mobile and immobile. He is capable of taking avatar again. Now, what is there in Shirdi as the Samartha mingled with the Brahman? Have no such doubts as Sri Sai is beyond death. Saints are not born from the womb, they manifest themselves for obliging others. They are the embodiment of the Brahman. Only the fortunate ones manifest. Those who are incarnate are never born and they never die. As soon as their mission is completed, they merge with the Brahman and become one with the unseen. A body is of 3.5 hands length. Could Baba be said to be contained? It is improper to say that he was of a particular size, shape, and color. The eight siddhis, such as Anima and Gariba, do not increase or decrease by coming or going of the people for such persons. They are their own eternal glories. They are famous for that. The manifestation of such great saints is only for the welfare of the people. Their appearance, their existence, and their disappearance happens as a natural phenomenon. The saints are ever ready to get the people to follow them. Birth is an illusion, death is a delusion. Oneness of the soul is the state beyond decay. In fact, the highest bliss in dream. Such is the condition of saints, even otherwise, for him who is the store of knowledge and is always one with the Supreme Spirit. To take care of the body or to leave it is the same. Enough of this. As soon as Baba left the body, a mountain of calamity on our heads. There was a great lamentation throughout Shirdi. A great mourning arose. The news of Baba having left the body pierced the hearts of everyone like an arrow. All the routine work was stopped and people ran around confusedly. And as this inauspicious news spread, everyone felt like a thunderbolt. Some sensible ones sat silent while some began to wail. Because of their excessive love, they were choked with emotion. Tears of sorrow trickled their eyes. They loudly chanted, Hail Shiva Shiva. In every house there was a tumult of confusion, and it came as a turmoil everywhere. All the hearts were palpitating. By Maharaj leaving the body, it seemed as if the villagers had died. They said, The Lord, this is a terrible event, has pierced our hearts. Everyone got up and ran. All crowded masjid and its courtyard. The situation was heartbreaking and throats were choked with sorrow. Shirdi's glory was gone, its happiness and prosperity ended. Everything was lost. Everyone's eyes was filled with tears and their courage was shattered. That is beyond what was counted amongst the seven holy places. And Baba always called Dwarka my unfailingly was the greatness of that masjid, whether it is eternal emancipation or abandoning of the body or death. Dwarka is the place for absorption into the essence of Brahman. He who constantly meditates on God has a place there. That Guru Raj Sai Raya, compassionate mother and father of devotees, the abode of repose of devotees, is remembered always. Shirdi was desolate without Baba. The whole atmosphere had a vacuum and was sorrowful. Shirdi appeared like a lifeless body, just as a fish thrashed about in the pond whose water had dried up. So were the people of Shirdi, sorrowful and without zest, just as the lake is without a lotus, a home is empty without a sun, a temple is without a lamp. The environment of the masjid was like that. The Shirdi without Baba was like a house without a master, a kingdom without a king, an empty treasure, an impenetrable forest. The love of the people of Shirdi and all the devotees towards Baba was like a mother for a child, or of the chatak for the water from the clouds. Shirdi appeared without zest, half dead, wretched, and poor, like the fish without water. The people withered. All the old and young were like a wife rejected by her husband, or like a mother refusing for her suckling child, or like the calf separated from the cow. Unbearable was this grief-stricken state. All the people of Shirdi ran here and there in a disorderly manner and in all directions. Shirdi was holy because of Sai only. It had attained historical importance because of Sai only. It became a pilgrim center only because of Sai. Sai was the only protector of all. Some cried aloud, some rolled in dust, some lay unconscious. The people were full of misery. Tears of sorrow trickled down from the eyes of men and women who were very morose. They foretook eating and drinking and became pitiable. Seeing Baba's inert form, the villagers were extremely unhappy. All the devotees, young and old, were very uneasy. That masjid where sweet listening of stories were heard, daily joyousness, and where one could not find even a small space to enter, was desolate. That Shirdi was always prosperous and auspicious earlier for all, only because of Baba, and without him the villagers were restless. The root and embodiment of heavenly bliss, you took form for the welfare of the devotees. And when the mission was completed, how wonderfully you abandoned the body in the village. For all the 24 hours, you actively and honestly taught us for the benefit because we were confused always. Your teachings fell upon us like the water on an overtuned pot and flowed away, and we did not even retain a drop. It grieves immensely when you speak badly about anyone. You often repeat it, yet we did not obey you. How many of us are guilty of having not obeyed this good advice? Have you repaid us in the manner for our disobedience and for not atoning us? Baba, does this requite all those sins? What is the point of being repentant now? It is necessary for each one to suffer for his deeds. Is it because of that you have got tired of us and placed yourself beyond the veil? How has death unexpectedly brought this calamity upon us? It seems like you were disgusted, dining your lessons to us till you became a horse and seeing in our indifference. Are you therefore annoyed with us and have forgotten all your earlier love? Or is it because of the bonds of the earlier lives that have ended today? Or is it the flow of your love that has dried up? Have we understood earlier that you were to leave us so suddenly? It would have been much better. At least people would have been more alert. All of us were lazy and were caught napping. Ultimately, we were thus trapped and good for nothing. We became traitors to the Guru, as we did nothing at the appropriate time. We could not stay even peaceful. We came to Shirdi from distant places, and there too sat gossiping. We forgot altogether that we had come to a holy place and acted and also in accordance of our own will. Devotees of varied and different natures came, wise ones, egoistic, selfish, argumentative, but to the knower they were one in their pristine form, and there was no difference between the superior and the inferior. He who sees that there is no entity apart from God in all creations. In fact, this is His glory and He had no second. The devotee himself is God. The Guru is no different. But when both have forgotten the real self, the difference arises because of that. In reality, we are God ourselves, but we have forgotten the divinity within us. This is the main reason for the difference between and fall from grace. An emperor in his dream him sees himself going from door to door begging for alms. On waking, he realizes the truth and knows that his situation hasn't changed. Activity when we are in the waking state ceases when we are in the dreaming state. Real awakening is self realization and being completely absorbed in unity consciousness. He had immense love for the wise and ignorant, all dependents. He treated all of them dearer than life. There is not even a bit of differentiation. Through this experience had shown that he was God in human form. His pampering and indulgence became the undoing of all. Some were given riches and wealth, some were given happiness in worldly life and the boon of children. Because of that, there arose a strong delusion, and acquisition of true knowledge was lost. Sometimes, when he laughed and joked with somebody, that person became puffed up with pride, thinking that he alone was greatly loved and the others were not shown affection. Similarly, if he spoke angrily to someone, they said that he is not liked by Baba, and Baba gave them alone all the respect and did not do to the others. While engaged in making such comparisons, which Baba did not even dream of, it would be we who are losers in so far as our good was concerned and ultimately forgotten. By good fortune, Parabrahma and the embodiment of the Supreme Spirit was so close to us, but we forgot the main purpose and lost in the opportunity of fun and frolic. As soon as they came, the people took Baba's darshan and offered him fruits, flowers, and all the things. But when he asked for dakshina, they slipped away from there and did not stay there. Seeing our petty faults and failings, he told stories for our welfare. It seems, however, that he was greatly troubled and suddenly left for his abode. Will these eyes ever see again your blissful state? That blissful image is not gone and lost forever and anon. Oh, see this devastating fate. Sai, our friend, is lost forever. He was selfless and compassionate, such as one had become a stranger to us. It is not good to harass others. It hurts me. But we paid no attention to it and continued to quarrel as much as we wish to. We lost Sainath as devotees and others harassed each other. We are now repentant and we remember your words. It is said that Maharaj had told his devotees that in the time to come he would reappear again as a lad of 8 years. These are the words of a saint and no one should doubt them. Chakrapani in the Krishna avatar did exactly this. Krishna appeared before Devaki in the prison as a lad of 8 years with lustrous complexion, wielding weapons in forearms. In that incarnation, the purpose was to lighten the burden of the earth. In the upliftment of the devotees, where is the reason to doubt? The ways of saints are inscrutable. This determination was not due to the contact of only one's life, but it was a relationship that exists for 72 generations, which was told by Baba to the devotees and which had been narrated earlier. Bonding with such ties of love, it seems Maharaj had gone on a tour and the devotees had a firm belief that he would return. He gives divine visions to many. He appears in dreams to quite a number and he grants miracles to several people secretly. He is never seen by those who have no faith, while the devotees and believers find him near them always. One experiences according to one's mental state. In Chavdi, he is present invisibly in the masjid. He is Brahma incarnate in the Samadhi Mandir. He is in Samadhi. The bliss of his presence is everywhere. So, at present, this is the belief that the devotees should hold. Sai Samartha is always there permanently and continuously. Deities leave up for their abode. Saints remain in Brahma state. There is no coming and going for them. They merge with the Supreme Spirit blissfully. Therefore, this is my only request. I bow down in humility to all, the young and the old. Listen respectfully to what all I say. Develop companionship and association with those who are well known, virtuous, and divine. Have selfless love at the feet of the Guru. Have inclination to tell stories about the virtues and glory of the Guru. Develop inseparable love for the Guru. Never let the bond of love break. Let the devotees remain blissful at the feet of the Guru day and night. So then all the people, the devotees and the villagers began to discuss about the befitting of the last rites of the body. Srimad Bhoti, a great devotee, had already built a huge pleasing vada, which would be a future memorial. Then later, there were discussions for 36 hours on the subject where the body should be placed. Whatever would happen did take place. One said that Hindus should not be allowed to touch the body. It would be taken with pomp and show and placed in a Muslim tomb. Another said that it should be interred in an open space and a beautiful mausoleum should be built over it where it should remain always. Kushal Chand and Amir Shakkar had the same opinion but placed the body in the were the words of Baba. Ramchandra Patil was a resolute person. He was an officer of the village and a loving servitor of Baba. He spoke to the villagers. Whatever may be your opinion, it is not at all acceptable by us. Sai's body should not be placed anywhere else outside the Vada, even for a moment. The Hindus had held opinion as per religious beliefs, and likewise the Muslims. There was a discussion about what was right and what was wrong throughout the night. Now, Lakshman Mama, who was in deep sleep in his home, in the early morning got a dream where Baba held his hand and said, "Get up quickly and come. Bapu Sahib will not come today. He believes that I am dead. At least you do the Kakad Aarti for me with puja immediately as per the usual practice, bringing with him all the puja necessities. Lakshman Mama came on time and got ready to do the puja. He was the village astrologer of Shirdi and uncle of Madhav Rao, his mother's brother. He daily worshipped Baba in the morning. Lakshman Mama was a staunch Brahmin and uncle of Madhav Rao. After taking a bath in the morning and putting on a washed clothes, he would take Baba's darshan. He would wash Baba's feet, apply sandalwood paste, and with concentrated rice, offered flowers, leaves, and tulsi after burnt incense, lit the lamp and offered naivedya. Then he offered dakshina. After offering eightfold obeisance with prayers, he took Baba's blessings. Then he would apply the sandalwood paste and tilak to all and distribute it as prasad. Then he would apply he he would then after washing Baba's feet, he would take sandalwood paste, consecrated rice, offered flowers, leaves, and tulsi, and offered naivedya. Then he offered dakshina. After offering eightfold obeisance with prayers, he took Baba's blessings. Then he would apply sandalwood paste tilak and distribute the prasad, and then he would leave. After that, he would offer worship to the village deities of Gajanan Shanidev, Shiva, and Maruti, the son of Anjani. In this manner, the astrologer Bua worshipped all the village deities daily. Therefore, he brought all the puja paraphernalia for doing the puja for Baba's body with a loving devotion. As it is, Mama was very devoted, and moreover, he had the vision, so he came with all the Kakarati requirements and did eightfold obeisance. After removing the cloth covering the face and looking at it with love, he washed the hands and feet, took a sip of pure teeth from the washing, and did puja with all rituals. The Maulvis and other Muslims objected to his touching of the body, but Mama took no notice and applied sandal paste and completed the full puja. After all, the body was of Samartha, the deity had worshipped, and did not even think for a moment whether it was a Hindu or a Muslim. When Baba was in the body, what a joyous occasion it was to offer puja. Now that there is no life, it was still more were not it was still not a mere ritual. Seeing Baba in this condition filled Mama with a lot of sorrow. He had come to the last puja as he would not be able to have further darshan. Mama could not bear to see Baba in this condition. His eyes filled with tears and his hands and feet trembled. Mama was miserable, opening the closed fist, placing pan vida and dakshina in it, covering the body. Earlier, Mama left. Later on, the noon aarti of Sai was done by Bapu Sahib Jog as usual in the masjid along with others. So be it. What happened later on will be narrated in the next chapter. How Baba's body was prepared with all Hindu rituals in the large place. Also, how a brick which Baba loved very much, which had been his companion for years, broke, which was a bad omen and a persecutor of death. Also, how it has been if this event had taken place 32 years back when Baba had raised his prana high up and gone into samadhi, it would have been a difficult situation. How devotee Malsapati took care of Baba day and night, and how, when all had given hope, Baba got up all of a sudden. How can the glory be described of that Yogacharya who practiced Brahmacharya till the end of his life and who was the foremost of the wise? So let us offer the obeisances to one who had such greatness. Humble Hemad surrenders wholeheartedly to him. May there be well being. This is the end of the 43rd chapter of SHRI SAI Satcharithra, written by the devotee Hemad Pant, impelled by saints and virtuous people, called Leaving of the Body by Sainath. This is offered to Sri Sadguru Sainath. May there be auspiciousness. Om Sai Ram. Let us now do the Aarti. Shri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj ki jai. Shirdi Maje Pandanapura Sai Baba Ramavara Baba Ramavara Sai Baba Ramavara Shukta Bhakti Chandra Vaga Bhava Kundali Ganzaga Kundali Ganzaga Bhava Kundali Ganzaga Yahu Yahu Avakechana Kara Baba Shri Vandana Sai Shri Vandana Kara Baba Shri Vandana Gano Bani Baba Sai Tava Pava Maje Ai Pava Maje Ai Tava Pava Maje Ai Kanello Tangana Vane Gacharana Toyati Paina Rupa Tuje Temina Rangina Ananta Putima Bhaveva Mahina Bhanena Ma Taveva Mata Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Sata Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dhairangameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Pairnuma Prasanniyarma Mudyakana Vapatani Sabhava Naromi Atyan Saklantarasmai Narayana Iti Samarpayami Achyutam Keshvam Ram Nam Narinam Krishnadamodaram Vasudevam Hare Niravam Madhavam Gopika Villavam Janaki Naikam Ramachandram Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Shri Gurudeva Datta Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj ki jai. Om Sai Ram. I urge all the listeners to read one chapter of the Sai Satcharithra daily and soak in Baba Bliss. Baba bless you. Om Sai